morning, students. Just after 2 a.m. I'm on my way down to the bakery. Starting a little bit later today because I don't have quite as much work to do, so I thought it'd take a little bit of time to start your virtual tour at a time when you normally wouldn't get to see me going to work at the start of my day. So I'm going to start and stop this video. Alright, so we'll get started with the pail of water going. Come over to the mixer. We see I got some flour in there ready to go already. Just got to go to my cooler and get some things out. In here, today we're using a fresh yeast. I often use a dry instant yeast, but a fresh yeast is refrigerated. So I'll get that out of here, and I'll get my butter and cream that I have set up and ready to go out as well, that we'll start warming on the stove for the cinnamon buns that we know everybody likes. Just put my cold bowl up while I start my mixing. Start it on the lower speed, turn it up to the higher gear, and we'll let that chew away for a while. I've got it in selfie mode right now because I'm going to flip it around while I divide this off a little bit. So this right here is a piece of dough that weighs more than most of you. It's about 80 pounds of dough. And we're going to divide that into a few different things today because it's not a very big bake. It's going to be kind of a combination of bread and buns. So everything is done by weight. So this, for example, is a piece of dough about the right size for 6 bags of cheese buns. That weighs 6 pounds. I'll get the button out. You can see here, that's one rounded headed dough. So that's dough that's not rounded yet. This is dough that is by this cool machine over here called a dough rounder. And then those are some other ones that I've already got ready to go. I'm going to see if I can show you me using this thing. Good in there? Alright. So I'm going to take a piece of dough, roll this ahead, and put it on this plate. Squeeze it out, nice and flat, as good as I can. And the machine will do the rest of the squeezing for me. Now we're going to put it in that machine, pull this big arm down, squeezes the dough real tight. This lever, the cutter, and it's going to jiggle all these buns around. And if I did it right, I should get 36 buns all around the same size. So we'll put that on the rack. When I've got them all ready to go, then I'll start putting them on pans. I'm going to have all of these ready plates. So what I'm going to do is take a piece of dough from the box and insert it in the machine and squeeze it between the rollers. It comes underneath here. Goes under that chain to go backwards. That's where it went through, and then it comes out like that in a roll shape. And that's a loaf of bread. And I'm going to do that with the rest of those. I'll show you a picture of it when it's done. Just kind of a middle check-in. This is me getting ready to put it all into the pans. Alright, bread's all on the pans here. This time we only have about 75 or 80 loaves of bread. Sometimes, at the beginning of the week, I'll make 120 loaves of white and 120 loaves of brown. That's how much my oven holds. Now we're going to take it and put it in this room here. It's called a proofer. It's room made to make it be warm and humid where the dough likes to rise. That helps the fermentation of the yeast, which is what makes bread rise. So we'll put that in there. There's a couple of heaters going in there. I'll plug in a vaporizer for some humidity. Alright, now we got a big stack of pans with all the buns in the different shapes. So these are hamburger buns, these are brown hamburger buns. And we squish them down real good and we put parchment paper between them to keep them from sticking. This is tricky to do with one hand. And then we're going to put them all in the rack, just like we did with the bread. We'll get them all put in the rack. And rising. I'll jump back in a second. Alright, we're down to our last pan to go into the rack for this stuff for now. I just figured I'd show you the cheese buns because everybody loves the cheese buns. Alright, let's see what I can show you while holding my own phone here. So this right here is a pot of is butter and cream and cinnamon and brown sugar and a little bit of white sugar, and get that all stirred up till it's nice and smooth. And that's the candy that goes in and on the cinnamon bun. So I put a thin layer in and roll up the cinnamon roll. And that's the big piece of dough that I got all stretched out ready to go to make all the cinnamon buns for the day. So I just got to get this stirred in. Pause you for a sec here while I stir. And we're back. So that is that candy mixture on the dough. Now we will just trowel it all out nice and smooth. Get it nice and even all the way across the whole thing. So as you can see in the time lapse, put the candy back on over top of the end, and what that does is as they're rising, it'll kind of soak in underneath, and then you'll get that nice thick gooey caramely candy underneath there, as well as on top. All right, next thing on the list for today is to make a cake, and it's a little different here than at home. So everything's done by weight, like I said, so I'm going to measure 2 pounds of oil in there. So again, sorry, I'm holding my phone. So I put oil in till the scale tipped, so I had enough weight to balance the bowl plus 2 more pounds. So now I have 2 pounds of oil in the bowl. I'll add another 2 pound weight, and then we're going to put 2 pounds of water in as well. It tipped, so that means it's there. And then we have a carton of liquid whole egg, and this is something available for food service. Not always available at home, but it's really handy. It's just eggs all mixed together, ready to go. So it's really handy for making scrambled eggs or for making cakes or whatever. I'm just going to put 1 liter of egg in there as well. Try to capture this a little bit. Just dividing the cake batter into the 2 pans. Cake takes a while to bake, so it's going to go in the big oven first. I was just warming the oven up for the bread. We'll check on the bread in a minute. So that's the big oven going round and around. See the flame inside there? It's natural gas. There's these 5 big racks that go around. So that'll hold 120 loaves of bread, or 20 of those really big pans that we are putting the buns on, or a mixture of the two. So right now it's up about 325 degrees. I'm going to heat it up to about 375. And then let it rest for a little bit and get the bread in. Let's check in on the proofer where everything's rising and see how it's coming along. There we can see, once the bread has started to go over top of the loaf pans, it's getting very close to being ready. So I'm heating up my oven at the right time. I'm going to let my oven get a little bit hotter first, and then I'm going to turn it off and put the bread in and let it rotate around in there for a little bit like that. And I'm going to get what's called oven jump. The bread's going to come up that last little bit of rise before I bake it. So it's very close to being ready to go in the oven. Squealing in the oven. Tried to get my phone propped up here enough that I can put it in self mode and load the oven with you watching. Won't be quite a full oven, but the buns that I did earlier, they're not quite ready yet, so they'll all fit in the oven at once. So we'll do 1 batch of bread, it'll be about 3/4 of an oven full, and then we'll do 1 batch of buns as well. Check in. Ah, it's looking nice. Look at that bread rising there. So we'll turn the oven on now. You might hear a click. My music might be too loud. So it clicked. And that's opening a gas valve. And this will all bake here for about a half hour. Take a crack at loading and unloading the oven while in selfie mode with my phone propped on a cooling rack. Just to see how that goes. But I'm going to try and at least do part of this oven unload that you're watching. So I'm putting a pan of buns in, putting a pan of bread out. That way I'm never wasting a motion and not wasting any more heat than I need because this thing uses a lot of gas. Cinnamon buns going in the oven. be able to watch with me, because this stuff all happens. It's about 4:30 in the morning right now. Right, the disadvantage of doing your own recording is you think you've got it running in selfie mode propped up somewhere and you don't. So this is the bread all out of the oven. I just swapped it out with all of the buns. So now we're loaded up. We got cinnamon buns and hot dog buns, dinner buns, hamburger buns, all in there at the same time. Same thing as the bread. We're just gonna let that roll around for a bit and let it jump. You see how the cinnamon buns grew and the candy kind of absorbed into there. There's a pan of cheese buns. So this is all just loaded, so the oven's just about full. I have 2 open spaces, so there's 18 pans in there right now. It takes 1 full minute for this to come around every time, so that means it's about 12 seconds from rack to rack if you were counting. And see our cake coming around there, so let's check that together before I let you go. We'll use the toothpick method. What you do, I don't know if you've baked a cake at home with your parents or anything, but you stick a toothpick in, and if it comes out clean, it's done. And it's looking pretty done, but it might need a few more minutes. So we'll stop it rotating and go to the thickest part here. Stick the toothpick in and pull it out. That's a nice clean toothpick. I think our cake is done, so we'll get that out of the oven, let it cool so Amber can decorate it later. We'll slide them off of the pans and put them on the cooling racks so that they nice and cool and dry underneath, and then that makes them last longer, so they won't moldy as soon. As you can see, because they're on the parchment paper, they slide right off. Pretty soon we'll get to see the cinnamon buns we made earlier. Cinnamon buns all nice and golden brown. We're slicing bread. If you look up in here, you see each one of these is a bread blade. It's just like a bread knife at home. They go opposite directions. One goes up while the other one goes down. So it slices the bread nice and even. It just comes down by gravity. Hold them all together, and then this is the tool here in the back. So hold it up nice so they can bring it up.